As of filming, the UK is currently going for a little heat wave. You know we're not good with the heat.
Hot one today, huh?
Yeah!
But that's made me think, what whiskey is best for the summer? Now there are loads of whiskey challenges flying around, and after finding a bit of a gap in the whiskey tube sphere, I decided I'm going to start a challenge. Probably won't catch on.
Jeff, stop trying to make a whiskey challenge happen. It's not going to happen.
So YouTube loves a list, and I love me a whiskey. So I bring to you the 5 Summer Whiskey Challenge. Is that clickbaity catchy enough? I'll just chuck a Mr. Beast headshot in the thumbnail. That would do it. Welcome back to Jeff Whisky. I'm Jeff. This is Whisky. Let's crack on. Jeff Whisky. I've actually tried to put some planning into this video, so instead of my usual grab a bottle and try and make it watchable through editing, I've got a set of rules that I'm going to work through for this list. At first I thought I'm just going to do a list of 5 whiskies that I've grabbed over the last few weeks, or ones that I feel fit best into summer. However, I then realised if I want this to catch on and not just have people list out 5 bottles of Springbank Tang, I needed categories, I needed parameters, I needed rules. Nothing adds more fun to a video than a good set of rules.
What are the rules? What are the rules? What are the rules? What are the rules?
So the 5 categories are Light Sunshine Sipper, Cocktail King, BBQ of Friends, Special Summer Party, and a Cool Evening Dram. I'm sure as I go on I'll probably think of better names or something, but hey, we march on. So to the first one, the Sunshine Sipper. Now this is something that you can happily sip away in the sun, a middle of the day dram. Here I'm thinking nothing too full on, something that can kind of easily have beside you while you're pulling out weeds in the garden.
Is a farce. Weeds are right pain in the grass.
And for me that would be something light, fresh and fruity. Therefore my pick's going to be... That's a blooper. Compass Box Orchard House. Now, I used to drink a lot of cider in my past.
I am a cider drinker. I drink it all the day.
However, I barely reach for it now, especially when I have got the whiskey replacement that is Orchard House. It's light, it's absolutely bursting out with green apples and pears. It's also a pretty good price, often popping up around the £35 mark. Also, it's a whiskey that you don't really have to think much about and dissect each sip. It's just always super tasty, super fresh, super light, super good. Right, on to the next one, the Cocktail King. I know that I've got some real hardcore whiskey purists who watch my videos, and they would shudder at the thoughts of whiskey in a cocktail. Which, each their own, but I do love an old fashioned, and I have found no better whiskey to use than Ardnamurchan AD. That'll really enrage the purists. Now an Ardna fashioned really is amazing. This whiskey still sings through that added sweetness and holds up beautifully to ice. Really recommend you try it. Looking at you, Doogie. And I think to be fair, in this category, just adding ice to a dram counts as a cocktail.
You have incredibly low standards. Let's go see the damage.
Now onto a more of a crowd pleaser category, a BBQ of Friends. So for this category, I'm going to pretend that I have friends who like whiskey. Actually, just pretend that I have friends.
You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you.
But here I'm talking about a bottle which will hold up to the sweat being over a barbecue, getting those burgers out to the hungry masses. It's also got to be one that you can share around, and it can pair beautifully with burnt sausages and you don't mind disappearing quite quickly. So for me, I've gone for Ardbeg Wee Beastie. I certainly didn't hide my love for this bottle during that Ugadal review, and this punches well above the price in my view. You got that meat smoke that can compete with the rustiest of barbecues. It's solid, but it's not too dangerous on the ABV, and I think it's got a name that could lure in any whiskey curious folk.
I like the sound of that.
Right, on to a Special Summer Party Dram. Now this is a very vague category. I was thinking like if you went to a bring your own booze wedding reception, or you just sneaking in a hip flask.
Flask. Flame.
like at a big gathering of family and friends where I'm sure it'll be shared out and it's something special. For me, after quite a lot of thought and making me think possibly I've made this list far too complicated, I have gone for Redbreast 12. Now I know that the heavy duty whiskey lovers will be scoffing at that pick as really, it ain't that special.
Scoff.
Did you just say the word scoff?
But lots of people know and like Irish whiskey. I'm looking at you, Jameson's and Proper 12. And this is certainly a step up from them.
Yeah, dead when I get my hands on you, do you hear me?
I never.
Dead.
It's still a friendly 40% ABV and it's just full of fruit and I'm sure it's to be a winner. And it's got a pretty robin on it. What's not to like? And now on to the last category, the cool evening dram. Now I envision this as a bottle you take down to the beach as the air gets slightly cooler, but more realistically, for me these days it's likely sipping a dram watching Taskmaster in my pants on the sofa. Now there's an image you want to have etched in your brains.
And thanks for that image right there, man.
But yeah, my pick is Penderyn Portwood, a fantastic Welsh whiskey that really balances the sweet port without being too heavy. It's one that you can sit back with it in a tumbler or really dissect it and pull so many flavours out of it. Now this bottle ain't open, and in truth I'm basing this out of the 3 or 4 samples I've tried, so I may end up thinking that the whole bottle's trash.
Lucky for us all, that's not the case.
But for me this fits the bill. This is the bottle which I'm going to open tonight, and after filming I'm going to wipe the sweat from my brow and watch Taskmaster.
Something wrong with that mirror. Nice picture of God.
I'm not sponsored. Great show. So yeah, that is my bottle choices for my very first Jeff Whiskey Challenge. I'm sure probably somewhere someone has done something similar, but hopefully we can keep the ball rolling. Now, it wouldn't be a challenge video if I didn't, challenge some people. So I'm sending this out to one of the most consistent content creators, Toby at Whisky Shared, Honest to a Malt podcast, so Mike and Duncan. If you've not checked that podcast out, make sure you do. And while my reviews are filled with so much nonsense, Vin takes none of it, so no nonsense whiskey. So let's see if they can bash out a better list than me. Also, if anyone else wants to jump on this bandwagon, please do and tag me in it. I'd love to see what people pick. So all that's left to say is, I'm Jeff. That's a bottle slap. That was whiskey, and cheers to the next one. One day I'll drop it.